kana ke kensenti.
Yentanka yenkanta pura kana ke kensenti.
Yentanka yenkanta pura kana ke kensenti.
Yentanka yenkanta pura kana ke kensenti.
Yara.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In continuation to our previous session, I believe that the brothers have more questions to be answered, and we would open the floor for those who would like to ask. So who would like to start? Yes, please.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Your Eminence, what if someone has some sports activities during the daytime? I mean, if he's an athlete and this is his job. Or what if students have exams during the daytime? Are they allowed to break the fast or not?
This question, a lot of people ask the same question. See, it all depends on defining necessity. Is it necessary for you to break your fast, or is it unnecessary? And to know that, you have to have the balance. You have to put Allah's pleasure with the other thing you're asking about. So is playing sport professionally overweighs Allah's pleasure? Definitely not. Okay, does exams overweight Allah's pleasure? Definitely not. So one would say, okay, what do? I do this as part of my job. I have to play sports during the day of Ramadan. I do this to pursue my career. I have to break my fast so that I could concentrate during my exams. I have to. This is strong. Who said that you have to? Allah Almighty told you that you have to continue fasting. You have to fulfill His orders by fasting the month of Ramadan. He told you you may not fast. It's permissible for you not to fast if you're ill. And those who are playing sport are definitely not ill. He told you that it's permissible for you not to fast if you're traveling, but you're not. So on what basis do you want to break your fast for this reason? It is not a legitimate reason. So someone would say, okay, then this means that I may end up working as a janitor. I may end up jobless. Well, look at it in the other way. You have lots of BA and BSc holders that are jobless. It didn't help them. And on the other hand, you have a lot of people with intermediate or high school in good positions. So this is rizq. This is something that Allah provides people. You don't care about that. You care only about fulfilling Allah's orders. You only care about being a good Muslim and doing what Allah tells you to do. Along with that, sometimes being a professional athlete is a sin. If you expose your thighs, if you show the things you are told to hide, this is a sin by itself. If your sports involves harming people, hitting people, as in wrestling and boxing, it is again haram. One would say, why? I'm doing this for the sake of sports. Well, Allah tells you not to harm people. The Prophet ﷺ told us, do not hit the face. Do not spank the face. Even the father, is not allowed Islamically to hit his son. The husband is not allowed Islamically to hit his wife on the face. It is forbidden. It's against Islam. So you have to look into your sports that you're doing. Of course, we're talking about males. Females, on the other hand, they're not allowed to expose anything of their bodies. They're not allowed to wear tights. They're not allowed to wear, as the case nowadays, you end up seeing women wearing the dress, the outer dress, the abaya or niqab or whatever, and it's so tight, it shows you her figure. And they think that they're doing the right thing by covering up. They're not covering up. They're exposing what is covered by wearing these tights. So you have to look into the sports you're doing. And this brings us to a scenario which was in France, England, and in Turkey, where females were given the choice whether to unveil, to take off their veils and to expose their hair and body, or not to go to schools. And they were faced with this situation, whether to continue studying, but they have to take off their Islamic dress, their hair cover, their face cover, or to sit home without studying. And you used to ask, what do we do? You don't have to have an answer for that. It's logical. Don't go to school. And then one says, well, if I don't go to school, I'm not going to get a job. And if I don't get a job, she's not going to get married. And if she's not going to get married, who will sponsor her? And so on. These satanic subsequences, and this would lead to this. And no, it's not this. It is not you that feed yourself. It is not you that gets this job or get this position. It is Allah that grants you that thing. So if you're okay with Allah, if you're on the right path, if you think 100% that it is Allah that does the job, and I do what I can do. That does not mean Allah does the job, sit home and say, oh, Allah Almighty, I would like a kid, but I'm not going to marry. So grant me this child. Oh, Almighty, I would like to be full. I would like to eat. I would like to drink, but I'm too lazy to go to the kitchen. No, this is not acceptable in Islam. You have to work and Allah, with your heart connected to Allah. Do whatever you can with your heart connected to Allah, and whatever happens, be sure and have a sound mind that Allah Azza wa Jal chose the best for you. But this does not mean you can sin and say that my heart is connected with Allah. No, sins are not accepted in Islam, and it's not a justification for you that someone tells you, take off your veil so that you could study. And at the end of the day, they will tell you, and this happens in the West and also in some Islamic countries, secular countries that is, they tell girls to take their veils, and they force them to get engaged with mixed classrooms, and they tell them that they have to swim in swimming pools, they have to do physical education along with the boys. Then it never ends. And one says, no, I have to. It's a necessity. She has to go to. No, she does not. You have to draw the line. If it's something forbidden, it's finished. It's over. It's haram. The second question, please. Yes, sir.
In the case of music, is it permissible in or out of Ramadan? Or
Okay. A lot of people think that few actions that nullifies fasting, such as listening to something that is haram, looking at something that you're not supposed to look. You know, the sinful gaze. If you look at a woman that she is, you're not supposed to look at her. If you backbite, all of these are sins. And a lot of people think that these sins void your fasting. They nullify your fasting. So to answer your question, music during the month of Ramadan is not something that nullifies your fasting. Nevertheless, this does not mean it is permissible. This does not mean you are on the safe side, you can listen to music. Listening to music is forbidden. It is haram. And this is backed by the verses of the Quran. It is backed by the Prophet's hadith, and it is backed by the consensus of scholars. And to begin with the first thing, there are